Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for Championship and FA Cup midweek review. I've stopped using the round number. The fixture list is so messed up at the moment that I can't have my nice compartmentalised rounds on everyone. So we have 3 Championship games and 4 FA Cup games to talk about. So 7. We normally talk about 12, don't we? Or 6 and 6 in midweek. But the my OCD is not coping with the lopsided fixture list at all. Let me know that you can see me, hear me loudly and clearly. Get your views in on each and every one of these games. Before we go any further, let's say a big thank you to our friend Russ, a fan and our friend, despite his terrible taste in football teams. Russ and I have just been debating the merits of counting goals and Messi versus Pele. If you want to join the debate, feel free, get in the comments. As ever, you can support the channel direct and live via Super Chat at any point in the broadcast. First Super Chat is the king of the bin. You know the rules. Patreon, we have just uploaded the Patreon Q&A, brilliant stuff, the Thursday Q&A. So do go and think about subscribing over on Patreon. More and more exclusive Patreon content coming in the coming weeks. And if you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, hit whatever looks like that. And that helps us out, doesn't it? And if you're on YouTube, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. 14,000 subscribers now. Boom. Let's say hello. Iain hasn't forgotten. Don't worry, we'll do it in a minute, Iain. Carl, hello. Andrew, James, Mr. E, Liam, Will, QPR forever. Lewis, big up the Owls indeed. Joel and Aid Acosta. Hi to everybody. Let's get in there. And there's the 3 league games. So we'll do the 3 league games first, then we'll do the FA Cup games afterwards. It was Sheffield Wednesday 2, Wycombe 0 on Tuesday. Rotherham 1, Cardiff 2. And then last night on the watch along, Reading 1, Brentford 3. Big game at the top of the Championship. That is where we will start. And I mean, we'll start at the finish, I guess, because the outcome of all of this were, for the first time in their history, possibly. Could be the highest ever league position, this for Brentford. I don't know if they've been in the top level, have they? Top of the second tier are the Bees. This was their game in hand over leaders Norwich, and they moved 2 points ahead of the Canaries and past the 2 points per game projection. So the culmination of a stupendous run. I've lost count. 21 are we up to now? 21 undefeated streak for Brentford, and that was done at the hands of Reading. So it was a big away game, a big top 4 clash, and Brentford do the business again for their 8th win in 9 games, 21 undefeated. I think it's like 10 wins in 11. Insane stuff from Brentford. They are in brilliant form. There were the teams last night. Raphael, Yaden, Morrison, McIntyre, Richards for Reading, Rinomota, Laurent, Elise Semedo, Ajaria, and Zhao up top. For Brentford, Raya in goal, Dalsgaard, Pinnock, Sorensen, Henry, De Silva, a virtuoso show from him in this one, Janelt and Jensen. And Buemo returns, Tony and Fosu now part of that front 3. He's done really well, hasn't he, Tarek Fosu, to get in there. Here's the first goal. I'm kind of glad it wasn't decisive now, this penalty call, because I watched the replay about 20 times. I think what referee Banks can see there is referee Banks. Was it referee Harrington? I can't remember who it was last night. We double check first so I don't. It was referee Harrington. My apologies to referee Banks. I think Josh Laurent is winding up to shoot, and if he's guilty of anything, Henrik Dalsgaard is too close and he kind of impedes the shot. If he did and he touched him, then fine, whatever, penalty. Thankfully, it didn't have any bearing really on the final outcome, given the 3 goals that Brentford are going to go on to score. There is Lucas Zhao. Should David Raya have saved that? He goes the right way. He gets down there, but it's a big hand and actually up into the roof of the net. Zhao puts enough power on it, even though Raya goes the right way. So 1-0 to Reading. And this is a great goal by Josh Da Silva. Tony takes the free kick quickly, and Da Silva dribbles from the right, comes inside, and we know what's coming, don't we? He plays that right central midfield position, always looking to get inside, and then he's got that left foot when the game opens up and he's inverted. That's been a big thing of Brentford's play the last couple of years, this idea of coming from outside to in. We saw it with Ben Rama and Mbuemo last year, and Da Silva indeed, and he continues and gets the equaliser there. And it took them a long time to break through, but it's Tony and Da Silva. Again, you can see Tony in the picture there, and Raphael's got no chance with this. Tony chests it down, and he larrups it full on the volley from close range up into the roof of the net, 2-1. And then just to break away for the third one there, Canos hits the shot. Ivan Toney following. It kind of goes through. You can see Raphael's just going to throw himself across and make himself. It kind of goes through his hands. And I've again, talk about losing count of the winning streak. I think that's 23 for the season in the league for Tony. So they are going absolute great guns. There, as I showed you, is the table, and we don't need to pull up too many metrics to just say what superb form they're in. I did this maths yesterday. It was 11 points from the first 8 games. So Brentford have scored 46 points in 20 games. That is sensational. That's Reading 2006 stuff. That can they keep it up? Now they have got there. Although we're starting to think with people like Brentford and Norwich now, I mean, think about it. Do the maths. 85 points would probably get you automatic at a guess, maybe 86, 87. We'll see if it's a 3-horse race. So Brentford now are counting down 28 points up to 85 in the last 18 games. You start to put yourself in a real strong position where you could absorb the odd defeat or drop point or two. Reading, they've been good. They've been really good, haven't they? In this game until the last 10 minutes. Brentford, in the end, wearing them down. I think the arrival of Canos onto the pitch was important in this one, let's just say. First loss in 8. And what I will say about Reading is the last 3 defeats, 2 of them have been against Brentford and 1 of them has been against Norwich. So it does very much look like a viable play-off team. Right, there's loads of comments here. Oh, God. Every day of my life, we get some douchebag in the comments. Sorry, I've just blocked them. Looks like there was only one attention seeker today. Owen, thank you. Super chat. He becomes the king of the bin. In fact, I didn't look to see what that guy's name was, who I've just blocked. But anyway, king of the bin, and we can stick that Nimrod into the bin. Ironic, on the day the EFL writes an open letter about online abuse. There we go. Thank you, Owen. Let me read your comment. Brentford best team at the moment. Well, every stat says that. We'll be interested to see them against Norwich in a few weeks. Yeah, that's going to be sublime, won't it? Say it again. Maybe someone will laugh, dearie me. Lord Bloom warming me up with his football splendour. Poor by Raphael for third, but Reading looked good for playoffs. Yeah, they plenty of evidence now to say that for sure. Brentford wore us down in the end. Agreed. Would have nice to have Swift and Maite. Yep, that would have made it closer, wouldn't it? Still been tough against the Bees. Very magnanimous, Mr. E. Champions elect Bees for me. Them and Swansea for the auto, says Iain. Do you think Watkins' form has paved the way for Championship League 1, League 2 strikers generally? Absolutely. Yeah. And Brentford system and people like Peterborough, actually, there is a pathway, isn't there? Liam, not convinced by the Reading keeper, Raphael. He's kind of funny, isn't he, Raphael? he will make a world-class save and play brilliantly for 3 or 4 games. And but there is an error in there. But hey, we need to remember we're watching the second tier, not the top level. Dr. Fell into the bin. Deary me. Afternoon, Jim, very kind with the super chats. Jay, our Leeds fan, our dearly departed sponsor, looking forward to playing Brentford next season. Max says, I think Reading were good yesterday. Brentford are just too good and I can only see positives. Yeah. They look very competitive, and Reading really are only losing to the top 2 or 3 teams now, aren't they? Raphael was decent last season, much less convincing this. Yeah, Watkins has worked his way through all the way up from Exeter, hasn't he? He's been superb. Brentford have been doing things perfectly. Well, they've been patient, Jim. If we're being really pedantic, they have gone behind in their last 3 games. I mean, some will caveat the penalty in this one. A couple of set play goals against Borough and against, I can't remember who they were behind, Bristol City. But yeah, they're certainly standing up to these character examinations. Let's move on. Rotherham 1, Cardiff 2. Should we just wind Iain up in the chat and let him go? He was a bit vexatious after this one. Rotherham's good form ended. Cardiff's good form under Mick McCarthy continues. Get your comments in. Rotherham 1. Cardiff 2, there are your teams. Johansson, Heckwell, Wood, Robertson across the back for Rotherham. Sunday, Harding, wing backs. Wiles, Barlaser, wing. Crooks, Smith looks nice and settled. No Giles in there yet as a starter. Wiles and Giles, that might be fun. For Cardiff, Smithies out after 11 minutes of the previous game. Phillips starts. Morrison, Flint, Nelson, and G. Bennett, Rolls, Volks, Wilson, Moore, Ojo. Sounds unchanged to me, other than obviously the goalie. Let's have a look at some pictures here. And how can I say this to appease Iain? This tackle here by Nelson on Smith may well have been a foul. Referee Eltringham deciding against it. I guess if we exercise some empathy for the official here, it happens very quickly. Nelson into the back of him and down he goes. No penalty given. Pick the bones out of that if you want. Here, big counter-attack. I think it was an attacking set play and they lose the ball. Wilson does well. Plays it into Ojo, who runs pretty much from about 30 metres out and finishes off. Ojo's looked good under McCarthy, hasn't he? Good equaliser there. Cross comes in from the right-hand side. It's Crooks again. And look at this for an old school 70s like picture. I think it's Murphy. Is it Murphy 11? Crossed that one in, teeming down with snow, which kind of makes me think I was right not to travel to this one. Would have been a bit of a dangerous journey home. Bennett heads in on the back post. 85th minute winner. It had been a period of good form. Looks like a tight game, although 3 big chances to Cardiff. I think Sean Morrison had a shot brilliantly tipped over. And Cardiff move up to 11th, far more where you would expect them to be challenging. McCarthy, 8 points in 4 games. If they were to continue on 2 points per game for the entire rest of the season, so that would be 18 games, 22 in total for McCarthy. So he would have to hit 44 points in 22 games. He'd be on 73 points. So it'd be an either or. You might make the playoffs with that. You might not. I suspect this season you might not. So it's going to be a hard run for Cardiff. They need to do something like 4 wins and a draw in 5 games to push themselves close and kind of get themselves in there. But basically going to have to be in really good form for the rest of the season. Speaking of really good form, Rotherham are 2 places outside of the relegation zone. Nobody has a game in hand on them. They're playing well. Crooks has made a difference. Wing and Giles have made a difference. So things are looking up for the Millers. And look at their goals for. Nobody in the bottom half has scored more goals than Rotherham. And I know it sounds like pretty basic analysis, but more often than not, bad football teams, can't score goals. I know it sounds really simple. So if you're down there and you can score goals, which Rotherham appear to be able to, then it's all looking good. Let's have a look. Oh my God. There we go. Right. More trolls in there, dearie me. Right, what have we got here? What's happened to the Ask Me Anything live streams? They're on Patreon now, Big D. Robbed, says Iain. Great cross for the Bennett header. Yes, it was indeed. Iain, as you can see, is not happy with the referee, and I won't get involved on that. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. I won't go hard in on one particular decision. QPR at home is huge. Yes, it is. Cardiff home to poor Travellers Coventry next. Crooks looks impressive. Yes, he does. Rotherham have to cut out the naive defender. They definitely got caught out for that first one, way up the pitch. But really, both teams are looking decent, actually, Rotherham and Cardiff. At the moment, ouch. Rotherham away, 6-pointer, then Brentford at home. No one wants to play Brentford at the minute, do they? So let's see. But Rotherham, compared to 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, look way more viable with Crooks back, with an actual left back in the team, with those couple of loan signings. So big picture, even though Iain is furious with referee Eltringham, which I think we've all been at some point this season, there is big picture cause for optimism for the Millers and for Cardiff. But I don't know whether, you let me know what you think, whether it's a lock for the playoffs already. Sounds a bit boring, but can you really see Bournemouth or Watford sort of winning 1 in 8 or something like that? I don't know if I can see it. I think we might already have the top 6 and they just need to sort themselves out in whatever order that they're going to finish in. But hey, someone always craps the bed in the Championship, don't they? Moving on. Speaking of good form, let's talk about Sheffield Wednesday, who are killing it at the moment, aren't they? It was Sheffield Wednesday 2, Wycombe 0 in the home banker of all home bankers, I think. And Wednesday are in fine form, 19 points in 9 games. Sheffield Wednesday, they are at it under Neil Thompson. Another victory, 5 straight home wins as well for the Owls. Get your comments in on this one. There are your teams. Westwood in goal. Erhagid, Dunkley and Lees. Harris, Reach are the wing backs, although they're both going to get a goal and an assist in this one. Shaw returns, or maybe this game or maybe the last game. Hutchison and Bannon. Rhodes starts with Patterson. Rhodes scores. Russ, our sponsor for this show, sent me an interesting stat about Rhodes versus Wycombe, where he's basically scores nearly 2 goals per game against Wycombe through his career with Huddersfield and Norwich prior to this. There is your Wycombe team. Allsop, McCarthy, Stewart, Tafazolia, Beta, Mehmeti, Thompson, Othapor, Kashkir, Akinfenwa and Horgan. Here are your 2 goals for Wednesday. Nice recycle by Harris on the right there. And Jordan Rhodes in his happy place there. Like Billy Sharp called it, his happy place in the 6-yard box. Not going to miss that, is he? Wonder if Rhodes... I know the massive contract expires finally at the end of the season. I wonder if he'll get a few goals and, there might be some interest in him. Faded star somewhat. There is Adam Reach, edge of the box. That is going to take a big deflection. Although, as we've said numerous times this season, deflections aren't always lucky. Can you get out? Can you defend not so narrow and not so chaotically? Reach hits it hard, takes the deflection, wrong foot, Allsop into the corner, 2-0 to Wednesday. And I mean, add the 6 points on, and Wednesday are up level with Luton in 15th spot, aren't they? But that's ifs, buts, and maybes. It's been a hell of a tear, hasn't it? We talked about the rising tide a lot, particularly as it pertains to Forest, QPR, Sheffield Wednesday and Rotherham. At the moment, Derby had been looking really good, but we'll talk about the Bielik injury maybe in some content later today. So Wednesday still could literally be 23rd after the next game. It's that tight at the bottom. 28, 28, 28, 29 between 23rd and 20th. It won't take much. Even just a win now is going to push the needle and change positions down the bottom there. Unless you're Wycombe. Wycombe, 1 win in 17, 9 defeats in 13. They are well adrift. And one whipping boy might mean a high tide for the rest if everyone takes points off them, because you can kind of add 4 to 6 points onto everybody's total, can't you? So we'll see how this pans out down the bottom, but certainly looks very, very interesting. And even if you're a team like Coventry, who've been pretty stable for, the most part of the season, you can see well over a point per game, 3 over at the moment. Well, they could get suckered in within 2 games despite their good total relative to recent seasons. What are you guys saying in the chat? Chris says turmoil at Watford and Bournemouth. It's not over yet for playoffs. That would be the one thing, wouldn't it, Chris? A bad managerial hire now for Bournemouth, or dare I say Watford, pull the trigger again in the next couple of months. You never know. You never know. That could be the one, couldn't it? You still need a charge from somebody else to get up around mid-70s on the points. I know Swansea got in with 70 last season, but historically that was low, wasn't it? Blackpool, the lowest team ever, 70 points promotion in the playoffs. Chairboys look doomed, sadly, but we had a season like that, so I sympathise. A bit like Ipswich in 18-19, Iain, you kind of cooked already by, before now. Rhodes for double figures and defy Wednesday to safety. Maybe. Wednesday could stay up due to good defending rather than scoring goals. Yeah, potentially. And that's a good point as well. Huddersfield in awful form. Restore the other 6-point penalty and Wednesday would be doomed. 12 points. Will do for anyone. One whipping boy. What about Blues? I think they're a point per game. You can't be called a whipping boy. Has to drop way below that for that standard. But you know what I mean, Iain, in terms of the best case scenario for all is down the bottom there is 3 whipping boys that most teams beat, and everybody has a nice coast to survival, and you can survive with 40 points or something like that. But yes, Huddersfield Wycombe on Saturday. Boom. Love it. Wagner has gone odds on with the bookies for next Bournemouth manager. Indeed. Has David Wagner done anything without Stuart Webber with him? Would be my very basic question, but could be wrong about that. Right. That is the championship stuff done. We did have a few championship teams play in the FA Cup, so we just have a quick little look at that. It was Burnley 0, Bournemouth 2. So whether this was a good job audition for Jonathan Woodgate or not, he literally maybe sat in an interview right now or at some point today, if we're led to believe what we're led to believe. We won't focus too much on Burnley because we don't really cover them, but there's your Bournemouth team. It's strong. Begovic, Stacey, Carter-Vickers, Cook, Rico, Pearson, Lerma, Billing, Brooks, Surridge, Stanislas. So a team you would expect to see in, a big game in the championship. Let's just say no Danjuma, no Wilshere, but strong nonetheless. And they get the win 2-0 in this one. Burnley quite weak, to be honest. There's the opener, Surridge from Stacey. I don't want to pile in on the guy. Young guy's name, who I've forgotten, playing left back for Burnley, had a hard old time against Brooks and Stacey down the right, and that's where the goal came from. And there's a penalty here. I'm not going to show you the penalty because I want to show you Phil Billing setting up with a pass with his back, a back pass. Literally, how about that for a bit of skill? You got to love it. There is Stanislas. Slots the penalty pass. Peacock, Farrell. For Bournemouth, let's just have a look at the Championship table, because it's going to be a key day for the Cherries today or tomorrow. We're expecting new manager announced. Forget who said in the chat, Wagner odds on. Terry not in the running anymore, apparently. So we don't know who the other character is out of the four. Mystery man in there somewhere. But if we look at the table, well, they're in perfectly good position if they can put a decent points per game through the last 18. They could get towards the 75-point mark, 30 points in 18. That's 1.66. That's fine. 3 points every 4 points every 3 games. They should be able to do that. That's win, loss, draw for the rest of the season. So a competent manager, I'm not saying Jason Tyndall wasn't, by the way, a competent manager should be able to go in with that squad and get Bournemouth in the playoffs. See if there's any comments on the Bournemouth position here. He was awful at Schalke, a disaster at Schalke, manager at Schalke. He really struggled at Schalke for a few years. There you go. Could the cup hinder Bournemouth's aspirations? Possibly, yeah. I don't know when the draw is, actually. Does anyone know when the draw is? Let me know. Confidence boost for Bournemouth, but Burnley not bothered. 2 things can be true. Agree with you on both there. Several coaches had a tough time at Schalke. Okay, fair enough. Not as much as a point in Woodgate. Woodgate seems to understand our players, says Will. I pray we don't. Oh, yeah, that was mentioned. Carl Robinson from Oxford as well. A bit of money for Vieira. Who is Vieira? Not Patrick. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Tonight after the Barnsley game, I ask, and the comments oblige. So, yeah, there will no doubt be a video on Bournemouth in the next 18, 24 hours. You would have thought I should start my research now, shouldn't I? There was me thinking I'd have an afternoon off. Right. Swansea lost to Manchester City 3-1. Honestly, they barely got a kick in the first half. We did this on the watch along. Really? Patrick Vieira? Wow, you know me. I love a big name ex-player in the Championship. I'm all over that. Vieira and Wilshere together. Boom. We'll see. Were they ever together at the same time at Arsenal? Well, could be together now. We'll be together again. Name that tune. There's your Swansea team. Quite strong. Woodman, Gray, Cabango, Latibodia, Roberts, Manning, Grimes, Fulton, Dander, Lowe, Morris. Obviously, you'd expect Ayew in over Morris. You'd expect Hurahan in over Dander, Bidwell over Manning, and probably Bennett and or Norton over Latibodia and or Gray or Cabango. They got 4 for 3 positions at the back. So reasonably strong team until you look on the other side and you see Torres, Jesus, Sterling, Gundogan, Rodri and Bernardo Silva. So, yes, bit of a tough ask for Swansea, but they only lost by 2 in the end. I don't know whether they've given that goal to Kyle Walker or Ferran Torres there. Still don't know whether he touched it or not. I think Walker got the goal 1-0. All at 6s and 7s there. Lost Raheem Sterling, who's obviously the wrong guy to lose in a one-on-one. He scores. This is a great goal by Jesus. Still doesn't do it credit. He gets headed back across. He spins and controls with his right foot and then slams it home with his left foot. Lovely bit of quality. That one, nice moment for Morgan Whittaker, who they've just signed Swansea from Derby. Flips up, hits that one early on the volley and sticks it in the corner. He has scored against Pep Guardiola. For Swansea, yeah, bit of a nuisance, but they're out of the cup now. No injuries and onward to the weekend, you would imagine, for Steve Cooper. And what you will say about Swansea in terms of distractions, they're very well coached and well drilled. So, you know, we'll see if there's any kind of hangover No disgrace there. City's starting 11 was frightening, especially the front six, Iain. Man City were always going to control possession. Happy enough with the result. Yeah. And I think Steve in the chat yesterday said, look, respectable result, no injuries, move on. I think so. Vieira was at Inter Milan by the time Wilshere had joined Arsenal. Yeah. I suppose Arsenal would have wanted Vieira's torch to be passed to Wilshere, but it didn't quite work out that way. Walker got the goal. I thought Morris showed enough to suggest he might be a decent signing. Certainly has pace. Yeah, he's damn quick, isn't he? So we'll see. Ayew and Lowe have got the shirts, deservedly. We'll see. Hugh, I'm a Swans fan. Honestly, one of the best teams in the world now, so nothing to be disappointed. And good to see that goal for Morgan Whittaker on his debut. So, yeah, if Steve Cooper's plan was to just give him, it's very Neil Warnock, this actually, when you're going for promotion, have 4 or 5 strikers to choose from, because in Warnock always used to do this. You look in all his promotions, at this point, he's always got strikers. Just so in tight games in the run-in, he's got loads of options. If you remember, for QPR, he had absolutely loads, didn't he? Cardiff, I remember him, although strangely, I think Patterson was a top scorer, but he had sort of Glatzel and Bogle, or was it Glatzel? Zahor, sorry. Bogle, Ward, Tomlin. He seemed to have about 6 strikers he could choose from. So if Cooper has now got Ayew, Lowe, Morris, Whittaker, it looks a lot stronger in terms of depth there for the Swans. Finally, let me just read these couple more here. US market really booming now, absolutely. Brandon says, as Swans fan, the league is priority. Good to see few rotation players let go. Sad to see racist abuse directed at Dander overnight. It's just tedious, isn't it? All this online abuse. I've done quite a lot on this in my Patreon Q&A, so I don't want to go over it again. But we have a really big problem with the way people behave online. Forget for 1 second anyone's gender, ethnicity, age, appearance, or whatever. We are in a point in humankind where social media has arrived into the world, and we are transitioning towards being able to use it responsibly. At the moment, human beings are incapable of using social media responsibly. And until we get towards, dare I say, George Orwellian style, right, when you go online, you have a portal that you put your name, address, and picture in, and it tracks all of your social media usage and every account you use, whether you call yourself Ding Dang Dong 23 and call me Jesus 800 times in a stream, that tracks back to you, and you've got to be held responsible for it. So, yeah, big problems with social media at the moment. So, yeah, sad, I know. Oh God, yeah. You're preaching to the choir here. Same for a lot of sports. I do genuinely think, though, it's bigger. I think it's bigger than racism, gender, whatever the ism is. And I think it's bigger than football or sport. I think it's society. People think they can do and say what the hell they like online from behind a screen, with the safety of the fact that they're not going to get punched in the face for saying it, which in the past they would have, which is why they didn't do it. So there you go. Twitter is a cesspit, especially. Try the YouTube comments sometimes, Jim. Yeah, Twitter's particularly bad. Someone made a good point to me the other day. Instagram is somewhat better because people actually reveal more of themselves. They put pictures of themselves up there, and there's more a sense of being and of a person. Whereas on Twitter, I can set up a Twitter account with this cup, with the username I am a troll, and go and be awful to people under the cloak of anonymity. So it's not good. And obviously, Jan Dander doesn't deserve to be abused. Neither does Mike Dean. Frankly, neither do you, anybody, me. People need to start winding their neck in on social media, and the social media companies need to be held a bit more to account and stop saying we're just a platform, we're not a publisher, we're not responsible for the output. Yeah, you are. You are. You really are. And look, if football draws attention to it, then fine, so be it. But it's bigger than football. Believe me, it's going on all day, every day. Right, quickly. Sorry, socio-political rant there, but I feel passionately about this. Having been a YouTuber for a few years, people think it's okay to say what the hell they like to me, and it's not okay. And as you guys know in the streams, I don't stand for it. So hopefully it doesn't affect people too badly, but it's not what we want to put up with. Anyway, a dearly departed team there, Sheffield United versus Bristol City in the FA Cup. Sheffield United win 1-0. They've won 6 in 9 now, the Blades, and they go strong as well. Ramsdale, Basham, Egan, Ampadu, Lowe, Bogle, Lundstrom, Fleck, McGoldrick, Sharp, Brewster. So other than maybe Norwood playing, and I guess Ender Stevens is injured, Billy Sharp probably wouldn't start in the Premier League. Pretty much 8 or 9 first teamers in there. And the same can be said for Bristol City there. Okay, O'Leary for Bentley in goal. Moore, maybe not a nailed-on Championship starter, is he? Callis and Mawson are. Hunt is. Towler isn't. So halfway there down the left. But hey, they've struggled down the left-hand side, haven't they, Bristol City? Viner and Patterson, people will be pleased to see that. Williams, he didn't get injured again, did he? Oh, dear. Wells and Jeju. So Blades going stronger than Bristol City. And obviously they're a Premier League club with Premier League income and arguably Premier League players with some tenure. VAR here doing its job. Frankly, McGoldrick hits the shot, and it's one of those where it feels a bit harsh because if Mawson's just trying to get his body in the way, but I think we can all get behind the fact if the ball is flying in the goal and it comes off the arm and up and hits the crossbar, it's got to be handball. You can't, even if it's not deliberate in those terms. And that's why the law rejig was done at the start of the season, and then they kind of backtracked on it. You can't have a situation where a ball flying in the goal hits an arm and doesn't go in the goal. Deliberate or not deliberate, that doesn't feel right at all. So I'm cool with this one. Unfortunately, there may need to be some kind of tweak because at the moment, that is a denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity. So it has to be a red card as well. I think they need to have a tweak of the laws there where if someone is penalised for a handball that is deemed to be not deliberate but stops a goal, I don't think that should be a red card. But I understand the ref has, under the current laws, he's got to send him off because it's a denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity. So what I'm saying there is I think it's a penalty, and by the current laws, yes, it is a red card, but probably should be a yellow. It does feel like double jeopardy stuff there has been put in for tackling in the box, where if you've made a deliberate attempt to play the ball, you're not red carded. I feel that should change for handball as well. William Sharp, Esquire, scores from the spot. In other news, water is wet and Sheffield United go through. Bristol City are on a bit of a losing streak, and their fans are getting a bit, certainly the ones I talk to, are getting a little bit impatient with Dean Holden. We can bring up their 4 defeats on the bounce. There was back-to-back wins there, but only one of those was in the league against Huddersfield, who are in poor form as well at the moment. So, it's not good form, and it's Watford away next, who have accumulated the most points of any team at home in the Championship. What are you guys saying here? Did I see Barnsley got banned from Twitter? Yes, for a copyright infringement from 2018. And this is the thing, whereby we are having social media companies say, we're not a publisher, we are a platform, yet they're banning Barnsley for a copyright infringement from 3 years ago. That's where people get annoyed with it. Mr. Eltrin comments for a quick say, yeah, absolutely. That's where people need to draw the line, though, Iain, where you've criticised his performance and said, I think that should be a penalty. That's fine. Everyone's okay with that, but people go too far, don't they? Maybe the in-betweeners rip-off. We didn't. No, it won't be that, will it? But I thought it was quite funny, actually. But there we go. Dreadful game for the BBC to air. Yes, we did look at it. These two will be playing each other next season. Yes, there's quite a high likelihood of that. Scroll back up for the Reading review there. Owen agrees with me. Yeah, I think going forward that's penalty, no red. But I think the referees had... You can see these... We've got to have empathy for these refs. We do. However, I know we're joking about Iain and referee Eltringham, but you can see the ref run over after looking at the screen, and he's kind of shrugging his shoulders saying, guys, I can't, what else can I do? I lose, if I don't send him off, I lose my job, basically, because of the laws. So he has to send him off for the denial of obvious goal scoring opportunity. But I don't get how there can now be double jeopardy for where intent is mentioned in terms of tackling in the box, but not for the handball denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity. So, yeah, they need to line the two up there. Right. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, as ever, to Russ, our fan sponsor, fan and our friend despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams. Thank you for the super chat from Owen. Very, very kind. Please hit like before you get off and subscribe if you have not done so already. No streams tonight. I'm going to have a night off and do some jobs and watch loads of Netflix with my missus. So I've already recorded something. Most influential player at your club. We surveyed you. You gave me the results. I've already filmed that. We'll pop that up, I don't know, early evening tonight. So there will be something up from me if you want to watch something. But we will no doubt be back tomorrow, bright and breezy. Although I've got to go to the tip tomorrow morning, which strangely I actually find quite fun, even though you have to book it now in COVID times. There will be a Dearly Departed preview tomorrow. There will be a championship preview, which will probably be live at 1 p.m, normally is. And we will be doing Preston and Blackburn tomorrow. And I hope if Bournemouth do announce a new manager, that I might just have to go live and just blag it because we're just going to be too busy otherwise tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And all that remains, I'll just answer that from Dan. Yes, of course. Wouldn't miss it. Looking forward to it. All that remains for me to do is say thank you very much for watching. Over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.